Carrie Underwood has been overwhelmed recently while she is back home. She is seemingly struggling to keep up. However, a source has revealed all the truths behind what she is going through. Since being on American Idol, she has been back home taking care of her farm and the dozens of animals she has. There is a lot to unfold and uncover when it comes to this. Keep reading to find out more about this situation. Carrie Underwood hated on American Idol. Carrie Underwood was a judge on American Idol for the first time last season. However, this was not her first time on the show. She actually won it when it first started. Carrie was the first judge to have won the show, which gave it a different insight. However, this did not go as planned. During the season, Carrie had a lot of requests and ruffled a lot of feathers. She ended up being hated on the show. However, viewers did like that she brought something new to the table. It is unknown if Carrie Underwood will return to the screens for a second season or not. She is overwhelmed and struggling to keep up. Carrie Underwood owns a farm with a lot of animals. She loves showing it off on social media and giving fans updates. However, it seems all of that is getting to be too much for her. A source said, "It's become too much for her to maintain, and she's getting no sleep because she's up at the crack of dawn taking care of all these animals. She's shoveling hay, weeding, fertilizing, harvesting, and then there are the repairs that never end. It doesn't help that she's had a hard time finding and keeping hired hands. It's picturesque on social media. Behind the scenes, it's far from idyllic. Well, the farm does not seem to be going the way she wanted it to. Fans are now wondering what she is going to end up doing. It seems as though Carrie is struggling to keep up with her farm and all the animals she owns. This is more work than she expected, and it seems she could be drowning in the number of things she has to do for the animals and her farm. However, the future of this is uncertain. She has been trying to keep people hired to help out, but that doesn't seem to be working either. What do you think about this? Are you shocked she is so overwhelmed? Sound off in the comments below. We would love to hear your thoughts on this. Prologue, backstage at the storm. The soft hum of a dressing room light was the only sound between the last echo of applause and the first rush of exhaustion. Carrie Underwood sat in front of the mirror, her glittering gown reflecting the bulb's warm glow, but the sparkle didn't reach her eyes. The show had gone flawlessly, as it always did. The crowd had screamed every lyric, waved their phones like stars in the dark, and walked away believing that the woman on stage had it all under control. She didn't. Not anymore. A knock at the door. 5 minutes, Carrie, snapped her back. 5 minutes before the meet and greet. 5 minutes before she had to plaster on that smile again. She looked at her reflection and whispered, "I'm tired." Chapter 1. The Year That Wouldn't Slow Down. Carrie's 2025 calendar had been the busiest of her career. A new album, Skyline Lights, had debuted at #1, and a 60-city tour launched just weeks later. Add in a Las Vegas residency extension, countless interviews, charity appearances, and recording commitments. The math simply didn't work. Friends would text, "You're amazing, how do you do it all?" She'd reply with a heart emoji, but the truth was, she didn't know how she was still standing. There were mornings she woke up unsure of what city she was in. Days when her voice felt raw before she even touched the mic, nights where she missed bedtime stories with her 2 boys, Isaiah and Jacob, more than anything. Her husband, Mike Fisher, was patient, supportive. But even patience has its limits when weeks apart turn into months, and FaceTime can't replace a hug. Chapter 2. The Public Smile, the Private Storm. The thing about being Carrie Underwood was that people expected perfection. She was the girl next door who won American Idol, the powerhouse vocalist, the fitness inspiration, the flawless wife and mom. That image had been carefully built over nearly 2 decades, and she knew how to maintain it. But lately, cracks had begun to show, ones she prayed no one would notice. There were whispers in Nashville. "She's exhausted. She's pushing herself too hard. Is she okay?" Carrie had a team, managers, assistants, stylists, vocal coaches, but even with them, there were days she felt like she was drowning. Her tour director had quietly suggested postponing some shows. She'd said no. Postponement meant failure in her mind, and failure wasn't an option. Chapter 3. Flashbacks to the climb. Carrie often found herself remembering the early years, when the dream was still shiny and new. She'd been 22, fresh out of Chakotah, Oklahoma, singing her heart out on Idol. Back then, her biggest worry was remembering the lyrics under the studio lights. The fame, the red carpets, the awards, they had seemed like rewards for hard work, not the price of it. But now, fame felt like a job that never clocked out. Chapter 4. The day everything slowed, but didn't stop. It was in Chicago that her body finally rebelled. She woke up in her hotel suite and felt as though gravity had doubled overnight. Her throat burned, her head throbbed, and her voice, that once unshakable instrument, was a faint rasp. Her tour manager found her curled up under the blankets, still in sweatpants hours before soundcheck. "Carrie, we can call this off." She stared at the ceiling. "If I cancel, they'll say I'm done. They'll say I can't keep up," he replied gently. "Or they'll say you're human." That night, she sang anyway. The crowd didn't know she was running a fever. They didn't hear the silent plea in every note. "Please, just let me make it through this one." Chapter 5. Home isn't rest, it's catch-up. When the tour paused for a 10-day break, Carrie thought she'd finally get some rest. Instead, her days at home became a whirlwind of PTA meetings, soccer practice, catching up on bills, planning the next album rollout, and squeezing in studio sessions. Mike noticed the dark circles. "You don't have to do it all," he told her one night. "Yes, I do," she said, too quickly. "If I stop, it all falls apart." The truth was scarier. If she stopped, she feared she wouldn't know who she was without the constant motion. Chapter 6. The Breaking Point. Las Vegas. A 3-show weekend. After night 2, she found herself sitting alone in her hotel bathroom at 3 a.m., still in full stage makeup, unable to summon the energy to take it off. Her chest felt tight, her breaths shallow. It wasn't a panic attack, at least, that's what she told herself, but it was the first time she admitted she couldn't keep going like this. She texted her manager, "We need to talk." Chapter 7. The Conversation She Feared. The next day, in a quiet corner of a casino cafe, Carrie laid it out. "I can't keep this schedule. I'm not sleeping. I'm not eating right. I'm missing my kids grow up. I feel empty." Her manager nodded. "Then we pull back. You've earned the right to slow down. But what about the fans? They'll understand. And if they don't, they were never really yours to begin with." Chapter 8. Redefining Success. In the months that followed, Carrie canceled 6 shows, reduced media appearances, and dedicated entire weeks to being at home. She started therapy, something she'd always brushed off as not for me, and began journaling again.